Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the DLF Trade Show. Proud member of the DLF YouTube. I mean, we have the family of podcasts. We need to. Is this the family of YouTube shows? Like, we need to come up with something. Well, you
I
need to
think
come up with
so.
something. This is your thing, right? Like,
I guess. Family
family
of
of
YouTube shows? Is that
YouTubers.
the thing?
That's we have to think of something less clumsy. Well, regardless, here we are. Welcome. We're happy to have you back. We are here. Oh, Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes at Amaze Hayes underscore. We are here to bring you on a 360 trip around the trade value of a single player. And we got lucky this week because we got a submission for a trade last week that they wanted us to go over a player. I happened to have a trade with that same player that I needed to complain about. So it worked out perfectly. So the player we chose, or was given to us, I should say, for this week was Stefon Diggs. I have always been a very big Stefon Diggs guy. Clearly not always. I did not know who the hell he was when he was drafted in the fifth round. But the second he came on the scene as a rookie and started doing well, I'm like, okay, no, I like what this kid's doing. I will 100% own the fact that I got scared when he got moved to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I didn't sell cheap. I didn't get out, but I was concerned. Like, and I'm saying that very sternly, very, you know, it's not like I was concerned. No, I was concerned. But clearly it ended up well, and that's all that matters. But
Yeah.
let's talk about trades with Diggs. All right. Let's get right to it. Our first trade, the trade that was submitted to us by Curtis Turner, thank you, Curtis, is a 12-team, one quarterback league. Stefon Diggs, Javonte Williams, Corey Davis, and Melvin Gordon locking up that Denver backfield. For Zeke Elliott, Allen Robinson, Tony Pollard, Tua Tagovailoa. Let's just say the totals from the trade analyzer are 1333.2 for the Dig side, 1299.1 for the Zeke side. So this is a fair trade. Let's
Yeah.
call, yeah, what we see it. Now the question is to you, Addison, which side would you prefer?
I prefer the Zeke Elliott side on this one because I think that you have two for sure starters in Zeke and A-Rob. I like the prospects of having Tua as well, who I think could have a nice bounce back season. He's looking pretty strong over the past couple of days in training camp so far. And then you get whatever Tony Pollard is, the upside in Tony Pollard. Whereas, getting Diggs, who I think you can make the case that Diggs is the best player overall in this entire trade,
Yeah.
over Allen Robinson and Ezekiel Elliott. Javonte Williams, I like a lot as well. Corey Davis, I'm not really sure. I think he's a depreciating asset and somebody who, a lot of people in the community expect to kind of get pushed aside for Elijah Moore. And then Melvin Gordon is kind of dead. at least at least right now, he's
Yeah.
basically dead. And that backfield, you have the Broncos backfield versus the Cowboys backfield. And I'd rather have the Cowboys backfield in between the two as well. And then Robinson and Diggs, you can finagle that however you want. And then it's basically Tua and Corey Davis then at that point. So I'd rather have the Ezekiel Elliott side. I think that has a little bit more firepower and more upside as well.
Yeah. I'm sitting here staring at this, and Javonte Williams is in the analyzer at 452.8. Allen Robinson is at 432.9. I'm not that high on Javonte. I like the idea of Javonte Williams. I like the situation because even if Melvin Gordon does start the season as the starting running back, I don't think it lasts very long. But
Mm-mm.
that seems really, it seems really high for Javonte Williams. That's really what I'm stuck at because I broke it down a little differently. First of all, what I love is, while I know they're very close to each other, Diggs at 680 and Zeke at 665. Diggs has an ADP of 17.5, Zeke of 15.7, but Diggs is technically worth more in the analyzer. And I love that it kind of shows that ADP does not directly correlate to trade value. They are different. I understand that these are insanely close, but still the person with the higher ADP has the less trade value, and that idea makes me a little happy. But taking a step back, Diggs for Zeke, fair. You see that trade go down, you're like, cool, all right. Allen Robinson for Javonte Williams, even if you say Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, just to say you can have the Denver backfield for Allen Robinson. I'm taking Allen Robinson every single time.
Yeah, I think I would as well. That's basically saying A-Rob for, I mean, Javonte was the 1.05. So 105, 106 in the first. So that makes sense to me. I'd take A-Rob.
Yeah, A-Rob to me is worth so much more than that. And then you're stuck with Corey Davis for Tony Pollard and Tua. In which case, I'll just take the 2 players because Corey Davis, I will forever hold on to love for Corey Davis out of. I don't even know because I drafted so many. Yeah, I see that jersey behind you. Yeah, it's so tough to point right with this freaking stream you're mirroring. But like, I drafted so many 101 shares of that dude that I will. He's going to be in here forever, and he has no upside. Let's call it what it is. Like some insane connection between Corey Davis and Zach Wilson with Mims, Elijah Moore, Jamison Crowder, just like crapping the bed. Like that's a lot to have to hope for even what mid high end wide receiver 2 numbers to come out of Corey Davis.
Yeah, with a rookie quarterback as well, and whatever Zach Wilson is.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm not a fan, but that's not even the point. But a lot less has to happen for Tony Pollard to become a thing. Every year they talk about getting him involved a little more and a little more. And last year they did. I get it was weird circumstances with Dak being out, but with the extra game coming into the season, I think we do see a lot more Tony Pollard. And I'm 100% with you. Tua is very good at football. He came off such a huge injury. And honestly, to me, didn't look that bad. He didn't look great. He didn't look like Tua last year. But as the season went on, he got a little better, which means he now had the offseason. He now has the preseason. He now has a couple of weeks before the season even starts. Like, he's going to keep getting better. They got him
a couple more weapons.
I was about to say, and they got him those speed receivers that they were completely lacking last year. So, yeah, and again, I get this is one quarterback, but we're not factoring Tua's value in too much in this at all. It's a fair trade. I see it go through, and I'm like, all right, I guess, yeah, but it's really that Robinson and Javonte Williams swap that just I can't get behind. So I am also siding with the Zeke side. But again, I would not be upset to see this go through, which means it's a very fair trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about another fair trade that I hate. Okay, so anyone listening that doesn't... So I have this thing called the Well, I didn't name it. I want to put it out there. I did not name something after myself. There's this thing on Twitter called the Outhouse Challenge, where you go to your league and you say, hey, send me an offer. I will take that offer, put a poll on Twitter. If your side wins the poll on Twitter, I'll accept the trade. This was a terrible idea I had when I was really bored one day a few years ago. Okay, real quick, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that sounds like fun, if you're in a lot of leagues, don't do them all at once. It is exhausting. Also, say you can send multiple trade offers, but no variations of the same trade. No, this guy for a second or this guy for a second and a third. Again, wasting time. Oh, and set poll timers for like 4 hours. Don't do 24 hours, just because after a while it just gets stale anyway, and it's more fun to make them shorter time. Okay, besides the point. So I received the offer of Stefon Diggs, a 23-second, and Elijah Mitchell for Terry McLaurin and Juju Smith-Schuster. On the analyzer in Superflex, Stefon Diggs 522.5, and then the second is 77. Poor Elijah Mitchell 13.4, total of 612.9. And then the other side, Terry McLaurin 360.7, Juju for 258.6, 619.3. So this actually came in 7 points different. Not even 6.4 points different. That's insanely close for the analyzer.
Yeah.
But we've also talked many times about how I feel Juju is, or we, I should say, because I'm lumping you into this, that Juju's undervalued in this thing. But again, doesn't even matter because I put this poll on Twitter and 53% to 47%. Barely the Stefon Diggs side won, and I was crushed. And I told you I love Stefon Diggs, but to lose McLaurin and Juju hurt my soul. And I can't trade. This happened last week, and I still can't trade Diggs away.
Wow.
I know once the season starts, I'll be able to. And it's just because he's a 28-year-old wide receiver who had the best season of his career on a quarterback who had the best season of his career. And it's a little tough to move that narrative without the points happening again.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
1000% believe the points are going to happen again. Even if Josh Allen regresses a little bit, the targets will still be there. Manny Sanders isn't really going to start taking targets from Stefon Diggs. They didn't bring in anyone else. I mean, maybe Gabe Davis does a little better. Am I forgetting someone that you're about to say?
No, just Cole Beasley's still there, maybe.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's another topic. But so like I'm trying to get across the point. I hate this trade, but still love Diggs. Again, value's fair, but and 2-for-1s, having an even calculator is a good thing, but not at those guys.
yeah,
That's really those specific guys is what makes me sad about it. Because if I saw this trade, I would go, oh yeah, I take those 2 wide receivers because I get that Diggs is awesome, and over the season, Diggs will outscore both of them. Week to week, I think one of them can score 80% of Diggs every single week.
yeah.
You'll never know which it is, but you're starting both of them anyway, so it doesn't matter which it is. So yeah, I'm sad. I would choose the McLaurin and Juju side, but I did not have a choice. This is what you get for doing dumb crack like I do, by the way.
Yeah, I would also take McLaurin and Juju. I want to ask, so you traded them 2 away. I'm assuming they were probably every week starters for you. So you
Oh yeah.
replaced one of them with Diggs. Who's replacing the other one?
Oh, I don't even care. I don't know yet because that team is not going to look the same now as it does at the beginning of the season.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm just curious to see, like, because if you're talking like, oh, I still had like, you know,
Oh no, no,
Jerry
no, no, no. That
Judy or
team
something
is
like
not
that.
insanely stacked. No, like I am short a starter because of this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely take McLaurin over Juju because, I mean, it's just you're breaking down one elite starter into 2.
Very, very
I
good
think
starters.
2 very good players, but most people would probably say one very good in Terry and one okay in Juju.
Well, they're wrong. That's fine.
So, but yes, but I would take McLaurin and Juju as well. And I'm sorry that the polls didn't go your way.
It's absolutely part of the game, and it really is. I like to do it with teams I have no idea where to go with them, like because you have these teams that are super stuck in the middle looking like you have decent starters, no depth whatsoever. Some are old, some are young, and you're just like, what do I do with this? You know what? Let's let Twitter decide what I'm going to do with this. And it did not go in the direction I was thinking, but I do have some good studs on that team, so I'm gonna I'll figure something out by then. But yeah, I was not happy with the way this specific trade went. But
Mhm.
let's move on to a running back equivalent trade. 12 team, 1 quarterback. 1-for-1. Stefon Diggs, Derrick Henry. Ooh. Um, Diggs in 1 quarterback, 680.4. Henry, 707.6. Okay, let me ask you, are you scared of the curse of 370 for Henry?
No, he's gonna do it again.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I think he will too, but I think I'm still taking Diggs just because that ceiling, man. Like, if Henry caught a couple of passes, I'd feel so much better about it. But
Mhm.
the dude, what do we say? Finishes like at running back 5-ish, even though he broke running records.
Yeah,
Like
he rushed
it's
for over 2,000 yards. He was like the RB 4 or 5.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, that's great, but some craziness would have to happen for that to go up. Diggs can be the wide receiver 1 again. Wait, no. Take away the again. Diggs can be the wide receiver 1 this year, and I don't think too many people would be insanely surprised. In which
Mhm.
case, he's going to probably outscore Henry by 50, 60 points. Again, this is a whole lot of maybes, but it's what you have to do when you have a 27-year-old wide receiver and a 27-year-old running back, because chances are neither of their values are going up ever again.
No, if you have Stefon Diggs and you need a running back,
You do this.
Henry's not the one I don't think that you should go for.
If I'm going in this year and I was depending on Cam Akers, you know,
Okay, yeah, I could. Yeah, you're
like,
getting
do you
desperate there,
trade
but
Diggs for Henry if you're loaded at wide receiver? Like, yeah, this is on its own. I side on in a vacuum. I side with Diggs on this every single time, but I could easily be persuaded by looking at teams to say, all right, I get why you did it.
yeah, that's why I think because I feel like at this point, let me ask you because you might understand the values more than I do, at least currently. Would you have to add to Diggs to get to Saquon? I'm assuming yes.
Depends on the person who has him, because a lot of people are weirdly down on him because he got 2 different injuries 2 years in a row. But Yes, you should have to. Let me put it that way.
Jonathan Taylor.
Should have to. Just because of the age. Absolutely.
Okay. So then those are probably the only two that I would probably really go after because you're definitely adding for Christian McCaffrey. And I think
Yes.
Kamara and Cook are in the same boat as Henry that I wouldn't, those aren't the running backs I would want to target to go for Diggs.
You
They're
could
just,
probably do Kamara straight up though. I think that
yeah,
could go because I think Kamara, especially with who knows what's going on with that quarterback situation, and he's like 27, 26 also. So
yeah.
I think you could get that swapped on.
But then after that, you're talking about Swift and Gibson, Dobbins,
I
Eckler,
think
Aaron
Swift you'd
Jones.
have to do. I don't think you're getting anything added to Swift, but the rest of them, I want something added to get to Diggs.
Yeah. So that's why I feel like I'm either going up a little bit more from paying up with Diggs a little bit more to get a running back who I view pretty similarly to Derrick Henry, but has more age, like more years for him, longevity.
Yeah.
Or I want to break Diggs down into
Terry McLaurin and Juju Smith-Schuster make me cry about it. Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, you could do that. Or like a running back equivalent to Terry McLaurin, like Antonio Gibson or something like that. And
All right. Do you want to
then a
just
wide
go into the
receiver
next
too.
trade and we'll talk about that? Because
Yeah.
that's what the next
That's
trade is.
basically what the next trade is. Yeah.
The next trade is 12-team Superflex Stefon Diggs for J.K. Dobbins and Michael Pittman. What did we talk about before? So Superflex 522.5 for Stefon Diggs, J.K. Dobbins 447.2, Pittman 99.2. That's so sad. I'm big on Pittman, by the way, just to put that out there. If these injuries didn't happen in Indianapolis, I would feel a lot better about this. But both Wentz and Quentin Nelson both getting foot surgery at the same, apparently. Like did they both play high
Yeah,
school
they
ball
like high
together
fived
and
on their
step
way
on
out
each
of the
other's
surgery
feet?
room. Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Now I'm just picturing them in their beds with their arms up as they go by, and just one done, the other
It's
one
like,
goes in.
Forrest Gump and Lieutenant Dan, like
Yeah.
one goes to get ice cream or something like that.
Hey Carson, ice cream. Oh God, let's move on quick. All right, so this trade is 522.5 to 522.1 after the package adjustment. So, and yes, this is fair. This is exactly what it should be. Throwing the equivalent of a decent second on top of one of those second tier running backs, I guess you can call JK, because I feel like the second tier is pretty big once you
Yeah.
get past like those, elite guys. This is exactly what you should do if you have Diggs and you need a running back and still want to keep a little upside at wide receiver. I was a fan of Pittman coming in. I loved the landing spot because of after I want Paris Campbell to be a thing, but I'm starting to lose faith. I'm not going to lie. They don't have another body guy like Pittman. No one else plays the same game he does. The closest thing they have is Zach Pascal, who always finds a way to do something every year, but I think it's going to be Michael Pittman this year. I don't even care who's at quarterback. I do. I want it to be Carson Wentz so bad because I just want him to do well again. But pulling it back to this trade, this is fine to me. This is perfect. I would be happy with either side depending on what my team needed. And it's August, so you have to start worrying about what your team needs.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an example, like I was saying with Derrick Henry, where I would want to break Diggs down into like you said, like a second tier plus a high upside second round pick equivalent, something like that,
Real quick, would you do Diggs, just sort of mess this up a little, would you do Diggs and Pittman for one of those upper guys you were talking, like not CMC, because I feel like you need to add
Diggs and
at
Pittman
least a
for like
first.
Saquon?
Yeah. Or maybe even Dalvin. I know you said you weren't really super into that idea, but you're going to have to pay up from Diggs to get to Dalvin. Like, would you
I think
add
I would do
Pittman?
that. Yeah.
I think I would too, because I want Pittman to be a thing, but we've seen not
It's
enough.
gonna be rough. Yeah, if his fantasy season is kind of dead this year just because he doesn't really have a quarterback, we're
His
talking about a
value's
third
gone.
year player, who hasn't really done much, and his value's kind of tanked.
I will be buying so much Pittman if that happens. Oh man. Like if Carson Wentz comes back in like week 8 and it takes like 5 weeks for him to get his footing back, because man, even when he comes back, his foot's not going to be great.
No, yeah, I think the Colts fantasy seasons are dead outside of Jonathan Taylor.
Oh yeah. And it's funny. I just did a swap. I traded away Naheem Hines for Paris Campbell, and I'm like, all right, who's going to catch the dump offs this season, baby?
Yeah, but yeah, no, I like both sides of that. Adding the Pittman to Diggs for a higher wide receiver or a higher running back, or adding Pittman to a lower tier running back for Diggs.
Or just keep Diggs and score all those points. I mean, let's be like it's based on need. It really is what that trade comes down to. Tight ends equivalent. That's fun. Okay, 12th team, 1 quarterback. Diggs for Travis Kelce, 680.4 for Diggs, 614.1 for Kelce. I'm so stuck playing in my leagues, which are 0.75 premium, in which case I would say Kelce easily, because Kelce, I believe, outscored Adams last year, who was the wide receiver one, at least in the Trade Addicts leagues.
Probably.
So, but taking away the premium in 12 teams, if you're telling me I need to start 3 wide receivers and only 1 tight end, I take Diggs. Like, this is a very specific thing for me. The more you have to start at wide receiver, the more important it becomes, in which case I want Diggs. Because regardless, you only have to start 1 tight end, in which case streaming helps a little bit. And the more teams there are in a league, 12 team, Kelce is always a positional advantage, regardless of the amount of teams in your league. But I don't know if it matters as much in a 12 team. Once you hit like 14, I think getting a top tier tight end is like a league winner almost. But in 12 teams, you can win without one. You can get Hawk or Fant if they go this year, or stream your versions of whatever streaming looks like this year and still be okay if you have Stefon Diggs as your wide receiver.
This is a start 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end, and 2 flex.
All right, I'm glad I vamped long enough for you to find it. I saw your eyes moving, so I figured that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
In that case, man, this is rough. I don't know. Honestly, if I'm stuck, man. Who do you want?
I dang it, I have to answer. I want both of them.
Right? That's like that is the sign of a good trade, where we're both just like, it does good. Go do this if it makes you happy. Like, this is, I do a lot of very small trades where honestly I have like 30 teams, and every once in a while I got a trade that was like Gus Edwards plus a little for, I can't even remember anymore, but some like young wide receiver plus a little. It was like the weirdest little something, and honestly I didn't look at my team. I didn't look to see which pick was in which direction. I was just like, whatever, that sounds like fun, and I hit yes, because it's not something that necessarily affects my team. But like, even if I saw this come by and I'm just like, that sounds like fun, I would probably just do this anyway, regardless of which player I had. Yeah, don't do what I do. Don't just do what I say. Don't do what I do. I do very dumb things because trading is fun. But either way,
I wasn't really reacting to you. I looked at the rosters that made this trade.
Oh, because you made that face perfectly when I said something very silly.
Yeah, no. I am confused.
Cool.
These teams suck.
Yeah.
Why did they do this? So this team, the team that traded away Stefon Diggs, their next best wide receiver is Darnell Mooney.
That's rough.
And they have Irv Smith as well. So now they have Kelce and Irv Smith. The team that traded for Diggs, their next best tight end is Tim Tebow.
I was not expecting that. I got to be honest.
And then he has Diggs now, but then the next best wide receiver after Diggs is Zach Pascal, probably.
There you go, baby. That's right. I told you he does something every year, sooner or later.
Yeah, Emir Smith Marset,
yeah.
Why?
Because it's fun. Yeah, but like maybe these guys have an idea of what they could do with the other player once they get them. I don't know why the other person couldn't just say, "Oh, let me trade Diggs for Terry McLaurin and Juju Smith-Schuster." I'm still gonna be sad about that just for a while. They should absolutely be breaking these guys down on a bad team as opposed to just swapping straight up. But since this is what we have in front of us, man, I don't care. I like both of these players. They're both going to score a lot of points, and honestly, probably for the same amount of years.
Yeah,
I don't care that
Kelce's
I think
31. It's a wash.
Yeah,
if you have a lot of wide receivers, just take Kelce. If you don't know, if you find yourself with like Kyle Pitts or don't care about tight end, then trade Kelce for Diggs.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, let's move on to a QB trade in Superflex. 12 team Superflex. Stefon Diggs and Kirk Cousins for Joe Burrow and Tyler Lockett. Trade Analyzer 525, 522.5 for Diggs, 294.4 for Cousins, total of 816.9. Joe Burrow 712.4. Good for Joe. Tyler Lockett 173.5. No respect for a total of still 886. So that actually outweighs the other side. I want Diggs and Cousins, I think. No, yes,
Ooh.
I know I want Diggs and Cousins. Cousins, here's the thing. The upside with Joe Burrow is absolutely higher than it is with Kirk Cousins. But I think Kirk Cousins is good enough to get you within like maybe 4 QB spots of Joe Burrow's output. Like Joe
Yeah,
Burrow could
yeah,
probably be QB 4 to 6, and Cousins could easily get you QB 8, like he does a lot of the time. And then Diggs is just infinitely more appealing than Tyler
then
Lockett.
Tyler Lockett.
Then don't get me wrong, I'm a Seahawks fan. I love Tyler Lockett as a player, but man, he's actually, well, yeah, he did come in the league a year earlier anyway. He's a year older on a team that passes. Well, maybe they'll pass more. Who the hell knows? Not going to speculate. But also, he's not the first dude in the chain at all. You know, DK Metcalf is absolutely the dude there. So I get that the analyzer points to the young quarterback, but man, if I'm competing, Diggs and Cousins so hard. The only thing I could think to
Yes.
say is if I'm rebuilding, I take Joe Burrow and just see if I can get a solid second for Tyler Lockett somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how I was going to sum this up. Like all the production is on the Diggs and Cousins side because at the end of the year, I don't think Diggs and Burrow score all that differently. You know, just because
Yeah.
quarterbacks and or what did I say?
You
Cousins and
said
Burrow.
Diggs, but I get it.
Cousins and Burrow don't score all that differently.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I mean last year Diggs and Lockett probably didn't score all that differently either.
Except that
But
Tyler Lockett scored literally a quarter of his points
his
in one
points in
game.
one game. Yes. So yeah, so I'm taking, like you said, Diggs is way more appealing than Tyler Lockett. The argument that I can make for the Joe Burrow side is you're basically getting all of the value in this trade. Like he's the highest valued player in this trade. He's the youngest as well. So if you're moving towards more of that type of a team, more rebuilding or at least some sort of reloading and moving towards Joe Burrow, you get a much bigger trade chip
Yeah.
in Joe Burrow. Even if you don't want him, ultimately, he's still a 24-year-old second-year quarterback that a lot of people love and have a lot of hype around. He just added his
Yes.
college teammate in Jamar Chase. This is an offense that people are excited about. So you can absolutely then just break Joe Burrow down into more if you want to.
Yeah.
Or, and even if you want, you could probably move Joe Burrow back for like, CD Lamb or something like that and kind of like gain the age and production back at wide receiver from Stefon Diggs. Or, you have infinitely, I think, more trade possibilities with Joe Burrow on your team than
Yes.
Diggs and Cousins. But yeah, I mean, if you're competing, Diggs and Cousins for the win.
Yeah. And just to point out, if you are rebuilding, like I know we were just saying that, Tyler Lockett is older and all of this stuff. If you're rebuilding, don't shoo away anyone just because of age. You're never done trading. Let's just say that out loud. Like we were saying before, we were talking about taking these guys and keep going. But you could also do that with Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett was clearly thrown in this trade just to equal out the value. Just
Yeah.
because like someone looked at it, it's like, dude, I can't take just Joe Burrow for these two guys. So they're like, all right, here's like a solid wide receiver 3 guy. Just here, take that. And then you use Tyler Lockett plus someone else to get you another young guy. It's something you can keep rolling around because I know when people are rebuilding, they'll see that age of 28 and immediately just say, no, I don't want that guy on my team. Don't worry about age. Worry if you could move them again after.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice. I like that.
All right, let's move on to my favorite part. We got horrible trades. One horrible trade. Okay. Duh. 12 team, 1 quarterback. Oh no. Stefon Diggs for Damian Harris and Zach Moss. Oh god. 680.4 for Stefon Diggs. Let's just say let's take away the package adjustment to be nice. A total of 240.9 for Damian Harris and Zach Moss. Now, I get, like, this seems to be what happens a lot in the horrible trades. It seems like people are trading for players based on what could be, but not on what that value means. Like, people, I've seen people getting on a Damian Harris train. I'm not exactly sure why, but he looks like the running back one in camp. He's probably in the best shape of his life because it's the offseason, you know?
Mhm.
And Zach Moss, people have liked him. And maybe the second year in the league, Josh Allen stops vulturing touchdowns, which he won't, just to throw that out there. But yeah, Zach Moss is absolutely better than Devin Singletary. I can say that with a lot of certainty. But I got nothing. There is nothing that could actually make me justify this trade. Like, take a step back and just be like, yeah, these two running backs could absolutely be something, but they're nothing right now. So why would I trade Stefon Diggs for nothing right now?
Yeah, getting on the Damian Harris trade does not mean you trade a top 5 wide receiver for him.
Yeah.
It would be like you'd have to be like, "Hey, I got Diggs and I'm really interested in like acquiring Damian Harris in a trade. Would you do Diggs for Terry McLaurin and Damian Harris? Like, would you do Diggs for, you know, DeAndre Swift and Damian Harris? Like, that's, the
Yeah.
value needs to equal out. And I don't understand.
There needs to be like a third round startup value on the other side of this trade that isn't there
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it's basically 3 times as much value.
Yeah.
Basically, what we learn is that there are a lot of people out there in the world who do not have a DLF Premium subscription and
Yes.
do not have access to this trade analyzer just to
That's what you
double
get.
check.
That's what you get, man.
People trash on trade analyzers and trade calculators because of whatnot, and you don't want to live by them. But like, you just want to check just to like, are you in the ballpark?
But
And
even if you're on those hype trains, you could be like, all right, so maybe after this season, I think they'll be worth this. That's still not making up that gap.
no,
I know the trades aren't even on the screen or anything, but I'm still doing that because it's that way on my screen. You know, like that doesn't bridge. Adding another 200 points on each of them, that fills the gaps. That's adding a first to each of them. They're both not getting that much more valuable.
yeah.
Nothing. I got nothing. I love this though. This is so much fun.
I'm sorry I couldn't find another one. That was the only one I could find.
Oh no, that is. I am glad that there aren't people making that bad of trades. Let me say that. I am glad Stefon Diggs is not going to waste. You know, this isn't happening.
So you basically what I'm hearing is you want to get to a point in the show where we don't have this section anymore because then that means people aren't making bad trades.
So many people listen to us. So many people subscribe to the DLF website where they can use the trade analyzer that we can't use any of the trades that happen in myfantasyleague.com for the horrible trade section.
I like it.
That's my dream. On that lovely optimistic note, this has been the DLF Trade Show. Dynasty Outhouse, Russ Fisher, at Amaze Hayes _, Addison Hayes. See you next time.